association spreadsheet?
I haven't been able to generate that yet, but I'll be adding that.
Okay.
Okay. But we are not creating any new user groups, so it will be the same user groups as we're currently using for FEP. We'll attach the same user group to the PEP queues also.
So they want us to basically clone all the FEP user groups, or basically the queues that we're cloning for PEP. They want us to associate the same PEP version of the queue to that same user group that the FEP queue is currently associated with.
Right. I don't know if we associate the same FEP user group to the PEP queues, would that cause any issue?
So you don't think that? I mean, it sounds like the same people are going to work the same. Whoever works FEP today is going to work PEP, and so I think today they may have created some FEP user groups, so they don't want any changes to those user groups that we created that are currently associated to FEP. But for every FEP queue, we're creating a clone PEP. So we should associate those cloned PEPs to the same user group as the FEP counterpart, the same one. That's the way I understand it.
Yeah, that would be my preference too. Not create, separate user groups, similar separate groups for PEP. Use the existing FEP user groups for PEP.
Yes, we have to, because a person can only be associated in Quest, at least. A person can only be associated in one user group at a time. So, yes, the only thing you can do is modify the existing user group to add the PEP queues. But business needs to tell us, I know they told us, clone the queues, the routing rules and the queues that we have for FEP, just clone those. So I assume that what they're saying is they want the same from a user group perspective is to, so it's almost like we got to go through and identify find all the FEP teams, right? We've got org code on the team. So if we went and found all the teams that have FEP org code, and then find all the people associated to those teams, and then what user groups they're associated with, then maybe we would have that list. But there's also going to be OPL, some, teams that are not FEP, but they have access to FEP, right? So, I don't know if there's OPL people out there that have some FEP queues associated to them through user groups. I don't know. But I guess we start with the list of identify all the FEP work queues and then kind of work it back to see which user groups they're associated with, and then business can confirm, how we assume they want us to clone, for PEP and then associate same user group. But I guess they got to tell us.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can send them, once I identify the user groups with the FEP queues, I can send them a list of those users that are part of each user group and make sure they're okay with it. And for OPL, once I run that list of user group queue association, then I'll see, for the OPL related FEP queues, how many user groups are there and who are the users in that group. Okay. Is there anything else we're missing? Anything?
So this user story is about queues and routing rules. Is that right? I'm trying to read the title.
Right.
Yes, Patrick, in the last meeting, we decided to split queues and routing rules related to tracking cases into a separate user story, because there might be multiple tracking types associated with those queues and rules, right? So we decided to split those, and also we found there are Sicily routes also impacted. So instead of keeping all this in one user story and making it this itself, like with entry exception, health claim, and inquiries itself, like plan estimate was 13. So we decided to keep a separate user story for tracking types and tracking cases, and one for history routes. And in this user story, we need to update current queues associated with the user group, so that when we start the development, we'll do the same for PEP. I mean, we need to associate the same. My understanding from last meeting is like, same, we are not creating any new user groups. The same FEPQs, how they are associated with the current user groups, the new PEPQs also need to associate to the same set.
Okay.
So that's the reason, like, we asked to have a spreadsheet for existing FEPQs and user group association.
Okay. And this user story is the one that hasn't been split yet for tracking cases, right? It's going to be split?
Tracking cases is a separate user story.
You already created that other user story, or you still
I already created the other user stories, but I haven't created the acceptance criteria yet.
So we're going to have one user story for the tracking cases, you're saying, and then separate user story for what, entry exception and health claim?
Inquiry and user groups.
Sorry, so inquiry and tracking is going to be one user story, and health claim and EE is a different user story?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And 50 route rule is also a separate user story.
Okay. Well, so I don't know how in depth you guys went. So it sounds like Barbara still got some work to do to extract these lists of queues and user groups and that stuff. I'm not sure how far you guys got when you reviewed this before. But.
We reviewed all of the things. That's how we came up with these questions and split the user story. So the only thing missing in this user story is the spreadsheet, queue, and user group association. All of the things are separated out. Tracking case will have its own separate user story. This route has its own separate user story.
Okay. And what about performance guarantees? I mean, if we're not creating new ones, but
yeah, it's a separate user story.
you're still working on that one too?
Yeah, we talked to Patrick. Yeah, go ahead, Baba.
No, I was gonna say let's review those user stories and then we can, have Patrick, catch up on those things and see if still something is missing. We can talk about that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, Bob. I have one question on this one. This one we thought that we are creating this user story for the health claim cases, entry exceptions, and inquiry, right? 3 type of cases, right?
Yeah, inquiry. I was not sure if we need to leave it here, but if we need to, I can leave it here. That's why I haven't worked too much on the inquiry cases yet. Swapna, do you need a separate user story for inquiry cases?
We can combine tracking and inquiry into one, Baba, because health claims and entry exception. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
Yeah, can you mention in somewhere in acceptance criteria or in description this user story only for the health claim cases and entry exceptions.
Maybe in the description you can put that.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we need to update?
What about security? Does that fall into one of these? I mean, I know we're going to leverage the existing.
That one will be separate, Patrick. And, this is only for okay. When it comes to routing rules, we have one for entry exceptions and health claims, and we asked Baba to create separate one for tracking cases and inquiry, and one separate for sys reroutes, and then. A health claim BPAs. We have, what and all BPAs are impacted currently for FEP. Same we have to do for PEP also, right? So health claim BPAs and entry exception BPAs also. Like, certain EAP errors goes through, and, if there are any letters or, 746, 747, some are like, FEP included, right? So all those entry exception related BPAs should go into separate user story. And security will go into separate one, and also anything with external systems like EMS, we interact with EMS, right? So there is some XML changes there, like what we are currently sending. Last week we met with Hari Kandala and Jiva, EMS developer. They said, like, for in the provider tab, what we are sending in the export XML, we have to add 3 more new fields. So all those external systems interaction changes will go into separate user story. So there will be 7 or 8.
Now there are quite a few. I haven't counted those yet. I'm keep creating those, as we talk about it. So, by the time we're done, it'll probably 8 to 10 user stories.
And performance guarantee. I think performance guarantee will be a small, because we are not creating, since the dates are not changing. Actually, we want to talk to you about that, Patrick. We are not creating any new performance guarantee rules. We are using the same what we have for FEP. So there is no point in creating new performance guarantees for PEP, right? We can use the same for FEP. Only thing is the rule criteria we have to change to accommodate, FEP and PEP.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, I just know that right now, I brought it up when we started talking about it on this call, and it's called FEP, and I wasn't sure if we needed to clone and, same for PEP, but I guess we need to just look at it and make sure that you can modify. I would like to use existing performance guarantee rules as they are, like you said, just have it include PEP in addition to FEP, line of business. That's definitely what we want to do, but we have to do it because I think FEP is one of those groups that relies on the, they have 5-day SLA, right? Like really, deadlines are really close by, like not like 20, 40 days like local. I think that's one of the things that they really like is to be able to, give there's a really close deadline date. So, okay, so sounds like we've got health claim BPA, EE BPA, security, routing rules and queues for HCs and EEs, routing rules and queues for TKs and IMs. And you said the user groups would go with those user stories? With the routing rules and queues? It would also include user groups? Okay. And then sys reroute and then performance guarantee.
And request to EMS interaction, that will go into separate one.
Request to EMS, so that's Jiva.
Yeah. And the client letter changes, Patrick. Yeah,
there will be a couple of new letters, provider letters. So that will go into the client letter user story.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's the change for the EMS Jiva one? Is there
Actually, right now we are not sending a line of business, Patrick. But after this PEP, we need to send line of business also. But FEP team, they added few more fields, like what is that, Jiva, some contract date, something.
Patrick, this is the same one that I sent out an email, and not this one. 1 second. This one is Jiva. Okay, this one. Okay, so under the patient type sections, we being asked to add these 3 new fields.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one.
Line of business and Jiva member group ID.
But this
we
is the
don't
one.
have coverage, effective date, and Jiva member group ID, Patrick. This is just to keep in consistence with other teams. We'll send null in that. Only line of business tag only we need to send FEP or PEP. So based on that, EMS, when they send it to Jiva, they will route it to the nurse areas.
But are we sure that we should be sending LOB? I mean, if we remember right the way that it goes, did you guys have that second call with them, or Swapna, did you?
Yeah, we had Patrick last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because let's remember that it was supposed to be very minimal information Quest gives, right? Mm-hmm. Claim number is the main thing we pass. And remember, the first call that's made is to Diamond to pull in all the claim details, header attributes, detail attributes. Uh-huh. So I guess I almost thought that they would pull LOB from Diamond, right? Because it's in Diamond. Why wouldn't they pull in? I mean, I guess we could send it, but, Diamond might be more accurate to send it to populate that value. I mean, like those other attributes, like you said, that are close by, coverage, effective date, and Jiva member group ID, maybe, provider composite service, member composite service, those other things that are called along the way to Jiva, maybe it populates those items. But I guess for LOB, I guess we could populate it, but does it make more sense for Diamond to populate it, since that's the first call that's made when we, initiate an EMS Jiva from Quest? That was the whole purpose of the claim search that's performed, is to bring all the claim details in. And I was just thinking LOB might, could be populated by them as well. I guess it could be either one of us that sends that. Is it just, if we have to do it, then we have to make sure our rules are correct and we're passing in right values. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I didn't check with them, Patrick, whether they can pull it from Diamond. I can ask the developers.
Well, I just don't know the right place. I mean, like you said, we could pass it, but it's just odd. I just remember we were setting all this up. The big thing was all Quest really sends is case number and claim number. I think case number is to register, the episode, so it gets associated with the case number, so that, future communications back and forth contain that case number. And I know we send claim number, but the main reason we sent claim number was so that Diamond Search could use that to pull in all the claim attributes. And I just remember it was supposed to be very limited data Quest sends, because that Diamond Search. But
yeah, I saw the patient tab, and so they gave to add, but I didn't check the existing XML, what we are sending, what information we are sending. So I didn't go that extent, Patrick. So I said, okay, we will add the line of business since it is on the tracking case or health claim case. So we have it on the database. So I said, we can send the line of business. Yeah, I can ask that question. They're pulling all the claim related information from Diamond. Why can't they get it?
And so they added this LOB as a new attribute. Do they confirm that it's not existing?
Yeah, it's not existing. It's a new one. I think FEP team currently they are calling Jiva for some, what is the project, Patrick? 360 something.
I-360.
Yeah. So their code was already there, it seems. Yeah, I can ask EMS developer.
Okay. I mean, they probably just,
Yeah.
they may not know like the architecture, how it was set up, why it was set up that way, or
Mm-hmm.
anything. And there's probably no real rule as to what, Quest should send it or Diamond should send it. But I just know that if you look at the inputs we passed today, it's really not much. Like I said, it's case number, claim number, not much else. And then, so we just have to figure out which is the right place. Should Diamond's, claim search do it, or is it okay if we send it? Now, if we send it, we got to make sure that we've got, and we're going to need that information anyway to route these PEPs to the PEP work queues. But so you have to modify, right? In order to set the LOB correctly for all different types of case creation, I guess, will it be set already? Or, because remember, they were adding, right, to the claim API. What is it, that attribute that they were adding? The FEP enrollment code,
Yeah.
right? Because that's how they tell if it's PEP or FEP, right? I think it's the only way they can tell is by some values that come across in the FEP enrollment code. So, and I wasn't sure if we have, we would think that we might have some change somewhere, either in the creation of a tracking or an inquiry or an entry exception or a help claim. If we set the LOB for any of those, are we going to be evaluating that FEP enrollment code to set it to
For
PEP?
held claims, I think migration router has to change, Patrick, to, right now when we set, get the data from FEP header and detail for FEP claims, I think the line of business is set there. So if we are getting from the same place for PEP, I don't think there will be a change on the migration router side, as long as Diamond, FEP header is populated.
Claim, you're saying, right?
Sorry?
For help claim?
Yeah, for health claim. For entry exceptions, right? Entry exceptions, claim services, we are not setting the line of business for FEP and host. So maybe for PEP also, upstream system has to set line of business based on that, what is that, enrollment code? What is
FEP
that?
FEP enrollment code.
Yeah, based on that, I think claim service has to set the line of business before sending the XML to Quest for entry exceptions.
That can be in our assumption, but I guess we'll find out. We'll have to test the routing rules, and it's only going to work if they set it up. Yep, I agree. But they need.
And tracking cases, we have to look, Patrick, for variance and HP tracking cases, since we are querying from Diamond header and professional claim header, FEP header, those same tables, we'll set it correctly, but we have to check all different sources of tracking cases. Like, if say like, Diamond is calling, say like, care event or claim failure. If Diamond is calling, putting the message in the XML, how that, message is getting, formed actually, like, how they are building the message before sending it to Quest. We need to test. That's the reason we asked, to have a separate user story for tracking cases and list all the different type of tracking cases for FEP. Then we can come up with what is the source, and we need to test all those scenarios.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's like every kind of tracking case that we could potentially create for FEP, we want to test the PEP one. And like you said, there's many sources. So, right, some tracking cases are MQ based, where we rely on other teams to send us the data. And hopefully, they'll include the line of business in those requests. But then you're right. There's also the batch jobs that we have that create tracking cases, right? So
if it is from PeopleSoft, right, Patrick, we'll get only the claim number or subscriber ID, or only the very few elements only we'll receive in the store procedure call. So we go to Diamond and get all the other claim related data. I don't think there will be an issue there, because we are not. Diamond is not adding any new tables for PEP. We are using the same FEP header detail, those tables. So, and there are no, new claim stages also, right? It will be same as FEP claim stages, FEP 100,
Okay, I agree. So when Bobber creates the list of the different tracking type cases, Satya, QA definitely going to need to try to create a PEP version of every kind. Okay. So, Bobber, what else do we want to cover in this meeting?
I'm hearing echo. Is everyone?
Yeah, it's coming through that phone number. I think the one that Bobber's on, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's my phone. 1 second. Okay.
Okay, so I think we're trying to figure out, right, a timeline here for these user stories and their completion. So it sounds like, we've got 8 or 10 different user stories, and Bobber, you're still working on them. I mean, is there any priority, Swapna, to the ones we want finished first? I mean,
I think the case creation once we need to have first, Patrick, so that at least we can start. I mean, once we are there for October, this is for October release, right? Yeah, I think 8/24. We have only
October 14th, right? I think it's the release. October 14th.
Yeah.
October 18.
October 18th.
Right, 18th. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
When is the code delivery?
8/23.
8/23. We have hardly 4 weeks, but this week we cannot count because this at least. I need to complete the XE changes for September release. By Friday, I should be able to complete, and we have the new directions also, right? That I don't know when we'll be able to complete. At least mid of next week. So we'll have only 2.5 weeks, Patrick. So I would say if we have the user stories ready by this Friday, at least the case creation part and routing rules and user groups, at least we can start to some extent.
Okay, Bobber, do you think you can do that by Friday?
Yes, I mean, the case creation, the user stories, routing rule, these is the only thing missing is the spreadsheet queues and user group association. That I can do this by end of the day today.
We need the tracking ones also, Bobber, tracking case one.
I mean, we can start preparing, if we need to create SQL to create these queues and routing rules, we can start working on that. And then the next priority is the tracking case one.
And the BPAs also, Patrick, BPA ones also we need to have it ready by the time we start development.
Okay, so case creations, probably number one. Okay, Bobber.
The case creation. Okay. So this is the health claim and EE cases. So this is the case creation one, right? So I'll add the spreadsheet, so this will be ready.
Yeah, 1 second, Swapna. I have a question on the claim number. Claim number is same, like a FEP claim number starts with the F1.
F2, F3.
F1, F2, right?
Yeah, they will still start with the F, yeah.
Oh yeah, only the difference is and member number also starts with R, right?
All right, yes.
Okay.
That's what I last heard, unless, they
Yeah,
changed
we need to
something, but
put
I
all
doubt
that
they will.
information Babar, in the user story.
Yeah,
Even
somewhere
claim
just
related.
just on one user story. Yeah, somewhere on the health claim cases or
And just Satya, I mean, so this FEP enrollment code, right? I think that's the only way you can differentiate then truly between what's FEP and what's PEP on a claim. There's different values for that FEP enrollment code. There's a little table that's been circulating around, and it'll have that FEP enrollment code attribute. I think it's on the claim header. I can't remember exactly where it is, but there's different values if it's PEP versus FEP. So like I said, Diamond's going to be driving a lot of that logic and putting the LOB appropriately based on that FEP enrollment code. But as a tester yourself, you should just be aware that that's the differentiating factor is that enrollment code. Because like you said, it begins with F. These claims are going to look just like an FEP claim. With F claim number and R member number. So you may end up having to use that enrollment code values just to make sure that things are routing appropriately for your own, in order for yourself to know if it should be PE or FEP, you got to learn and know which values in that FEP enrollment code mean PEP.
Okay, that's one. If there is any members are already there in Diamond, we can find we can find member master table or in member screens.
Yeah, you can find the member, but I think the only way you can tell the difference between PEP and FEP is going to be this enrollment code.
Yeah, FEP enrollment code is 105 and 104, and there is a 1 or 2. But here I can see that the enrollment code is 33E, 33A, 35B, some different codes here. I can see that.
Correct. Yep.
33C. Yeah.
So it sounds like we might not have to know that logic to put in our code anywhere because we're relying on Diamond and source applications setting that OOB appropriately. But for yourself as a test, QA, just to make sure the other teams are getting it right, you should understand. So it sounds like you know those values and what they mean.
Yeah, for us, it should just be line of business.
Yeah, for us, it should just be line of business. Sounds like, yep.
Right. Yeah, those enrollment codes were for the other teams to set up the correct line of business. FEP versus PEP.
Correct. Yeah, I just want to make sure Satya knows so that he can make sure those other systems are, sending the right values when they send it to us.
Okay, so this user story will be ready. So before Friday, we are targeting the other one.
Yeah, the first one, at least we can add the claim number starts with F, just minimum information related to the claim number.
Okay, I can add it to the test strategy.
That's for the developer also. They
Notes.
need that. Yeah, somewhere here.
Developer also. Okay.
Yeah, they need that information too, right? Or do we have any documentation related to that? If you can add that one.
No, there's no documentation. The only thing was that table Patrick was referring to for the enrollment code. I can find that table and attach it here.
That was there on the member eligibility history table.
And we need to list the PDSI inquiry cases also auto-generated PDSIs. That one,
crisis.
Yeah. I mean, that might go into, we need to list all the. If we have, health claim, entry exception, queues rules and user group associations and the BPA related ones ready by this Friday, we can start, Patrick, next week.
Yep. We should try to do that because
Yeah.
I know that the other thing that's going to come up is the MBBA, which is going to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me go over that BPA one. Okay, don't go over this one. This is copy paste. Okay, so I looked at the BPA whole code repair rules spreadsheet, and based on that spreadsheet, I came up with these BPAs that we currently including, excluding for FEP, DC dupe, PIN, JP exclusion, BHDME, all of these. So these three are excluded. FEP is excluded, so we'll exclude TEP. Same for these two. And the other three we are including FEP, so PEP will also be included.
There is another logic, another old code, CHHIS.
Yeah, CHHIS, yes.
Maybe I missed that one. It's usually at the bottom, maybe that's why.
What about UPHLD?
CHIS. Okay, CHIS doesn't list FEP included, excluded, or any other line of business. I guess this is exclusive for all lines of business, right?
Yeah, FEP is included for CHHIS.
Okay. Okay. The other one was UPHLV.
Yeah, UPHLD, have to check. UPHLD might not be here because it might be somewhere in the user stories.
That's more for Diamond, right? That came later.
Yeah.
But we have some automation for UPHLD first.
Yes, Patrick.
Okay. Trying to remember what that would do. So UPHLD is like when it doesn't go in the finance cycle, right? After some
even if it goes to the queue, Patrick, we will move from queue back to the PPA queue. Like even if the case sits in group queue, we will move it to the BPA processing. We have a batch job actually that runs every day. I think UPHLD hold. I think there is some diamond process. They run around 6 a.m. or so. So our batch job will run at 9 o'clock to catch up all those cases and stage it for the BPA processing. This is something, since UPHLD is the last hold, right? So by the time the cases might be already in the group queues and worked by business already. So that's the reason we came up with the separate staging logic.
But when we stage an FEP health claim for UPHLD, what does it do? Do you remember what it does to the claim?
There are certain new actions we created, Patrick. I forgot. I have to check actually.
Okay. That's okay if you don't remember at all. I think I've forgotten that part. I don't remember this part. I mean, I know we have, UPHLD. I don't remember the automations around it. So that's all going to be in Rally, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. I'm familiar with all those others that you have there, the DC dupes and the CHHIS and all the reverse read keys and stuff it does there on those. But yeah, UPHLD, drawing a blank on that one. But good that you guys remember that.
Okay, I think UPHLD, I think FPP is excluded. I'm just checking actually.
Yeah, the FEP is excluded.
Excluded, right? Yeah, host, FEP, and WBO are excluded. But there are...
And home claims also, the host, FEP, home, and WBO.
Yeah. But there are, other home BPAs, MELEC, MNPNA, MRPNA. I don't know if FEP is excluded or not.
This is a complete list.
No, I think this one, Babar, this one, yeah.
I know it's an old one, but I know it's never been updated for a long time.
All these,